given your background with regards to your training philosophy. I think that would be kind of fun to dive into just a little bit, like what's your training philosophy like with regards to, you know, how you approach it maybe for yourself. Well, maybe we could dive into that. I think that'd be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, my training has changed significantly over my training career. Like I said, I got started when I was 19, 20. So when you're that age, you're pretty much just indestructible. I remember, training for 2 to 3 hours at a time, lifting pretty heavy loads in comparison, and, still doing physical activity after that, like, playing basketball, playing football, whatever, like, recreationally. As I've gotten older, and I know 30 is not old, but your body is just not the same that it was when you were 20. And I've slowly come to realize that you just can't put yourself through that same rigorous training. That doesn't mean that I don't train as hard, but I train a lot smarter than I used to. So for example, instead of doing 5 back movements on a given day, I may do like 3, but really get locked in on those back movements, and then that be it. So for example, I'll do a pull down, I'll do a row variation, and then now I'm getting back into deadlifting. So I could hold the bar a little bit. Granted, it's like a hex bar and it's no weight on there right now, but the goal is to eventually incorporate a deadlift on that day. So I'll just do a very select few movements, but do quite a lot of sets of that movement. And I'm very particular with my exercise selection. So I refer to it as throwing out the junk volume. I found this a lot, pretty much any body part that is, but every single rep of every single set, you should be able to really, contract your muscles properly. And granted, you may be squeaking out a few forced reps here or there, but if you feel like you're constantly swinging the weight and just going through the motion, then that's just exercises you don't need to be doing, in my opinion, because you're not getting anything out of it. I would rather do fewer exercises and have the quality be superior than just do a ton of quantity with the quality being super low. So yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon for me literally to do 2 chest movements, 2, 3 shoulder movements, 2, 3 back movements, and call it a day. Like legs, I'm training legs today, legs and back, but I'm literally going to do 2 leg movements. And that's probably going to surprise. They're big movements. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to be a leg press and a hip thrust, mostly ham training today, but that's the movements that I choose. And I get the most bang for my buck. I get the most load out of those movements as well, the most stimulus. And the end goal of all this training is to stimulate the muscle the most effectively. So yeah, there's many ways to skin a cat. And for me, it really just comes down to, am I contracting the muscle where I could feel it under a decent amount of load? And can I repeat that effort every single time? So for people that train like the max out method, where you have to like go to a special place in order to lift weight, like that's not repeatable. For me, I'm not getting hyped up to go into the gym, right? I'm just going into the gym and I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. And it goes down to and Doug is familiar with this. He's actually one of the ones that turned me on to this way of thinking, but it's called, I believe I want to get it right, like the 10,000 mile march or something like that, where if you had to walk 10,000 miles in a day, or excuse me, if you had to walk 10,000 miles, how would you approach it? And some people might say, well, on the really sunny days, I'll walk 50 miles. And then on the days it rains, I may only walk 20 miles. And on the days where it's freezing, I may walk 0 miles. So it's just all these efforts all over the place. And you are not making constant progress. With me, I do, 35 miles every single day, no matter the conditions, right? So whether it's snowing, whether it's cold, whether it's sunny, I do exactly what I should be doing every single day. And that's the most effective way. Instead of sprinting and then stopping and sprinting and stopping, if you do exactly what you should do every day, you'll get there a lot quicker. And it may not be flashy, my style of training, because I'm not necessarily slinging around super heavy weights. I'm roughly lifting the same weight every single time I go in, plus or minus, 5 pounds. But I've been writing in my journals for, 10 years, and it's gotten me this far. So why would I stop tracking those weights? And granted, some weeks I'm not able to go up in weight, but then that's where I make sure, okay, if I can't go up in weight, how is the quality of all these reps? Were all these sets appropriate? And for me too, and it kind of ties into, the longevity of the whole theme of your podcast is, am I doing something now that's going to hurt me in the future? And I found that with myself before, when I was lifting these heavy loads, I was always getting injured, or I was being so fatigued if I were to deadlift first, like max out effort. I remember I was trying to see how many reps of like 405 I could do. So I'd go in there fresh. And at one point in time, I think I got like 16 reps of 405, right? Awesome. Great. But then what? I remember being so fatigued after doing 405 for a set of 16 that I barely could do any direct back training because I was so winded. It beat my central nervous system up so much that I wasn't doing my lat pull downs the way that I should, or I wasn't doing my rows the way that I should. And my back growth suffered from that. So I was like, God, you got to be a lot smarter. Are you trying to be a power lifter? Are you trying to be a bodybuilder? And you could still lift heavy loads if you're being safe and if you're contracting your muscles properly. But for me, I found the higher the weight, the less activation I was getting and the more injury prone I was. So I was like, I got to be a lot smarter in my exercise selection and how I go about training and choosing my movements on ones that I can progress safely on and that I get the most out of.